What are some monsters / entities / strange things that have terrorized you in your nightmares?
I've had a few dreams about Pickerel. I've had an encounter with it, so it doesn't bother me that much. First nightmare: me and a friend were driving through the back of some open-air depot. The driveway was gravel. It was night out. We were driving in a truck. I spotted it lying flat along the ground trying to blend in with the white gravel. I told my friend to run it over. However, the thing was so damn fast and agile it was weaving in between the tires as we tried to run it over. Dream ended there. Another one. I was alone in a house. I came up to the second-story balcony, which had a glass door entrance. It was staring at me through the door. The house was unlit and it was nighttime out. Pretty scary, and the dream ended there. I've already done so several times. But here you go. Me and my friend drove to an isolated spot near a creek to do some drinking. We feel like we are being watched when we pull up and park. A few minutes later, all we are doing is watching behind us, parked backwards to the wood line, and I see a pale white form standing out from the darkness. Its skin was like dry old dusty leather with varicose veins that are blue. I freak the fuck out and tell my friend to drive away. As we drive away, me and him see the damn thing run across the road. It was incredibly fast, and I saw it just barely long enough to make out its form. It was tall, had skinny arms and legs and an unusually small but round head, compared to its body. We drive away a few miles and it fucking follows us down the road. It kept up with the car. We park at a lit parking lot that had cameras over it. It pops up a few hundred feet in front of us near some bushes and an unlit road. We take some pictures, but they are of a quite shit quality for a multitude of reasons. Pickerel is the one picture we got that shows something. A pair of eyes. After an hour we decide to drive to the center of town to a 24/7 gas station for water and human contact. It was 2 a.m. at this point. We exit the parking lot but are stopped at a light before the main road. To my right is a grove of trees. Friend says he saw something moving over there. My eyes adjust and I see the upper portion of its head peeking from behind a tree. It was staring directly at me. Its eyes seemed huge, but it was in fact its eye sockets which absorb almost all incoming light. I couldn't look away, and after a minute of probably the most horrifying, traumatic experience of my life, I tell my friend to drive away. The moment I could no longer sustain eye contact, I broke down into tears for about 30 seconds. Words cannot fully describe how terrifying and evil these things are, and I had the luxury of encountering it from the safety of a car.
One time I had a dream that my house was by itself in a big field with a forest around the edge, and these 20-foot-tall bear-like creatures with gorilla heads, that only had one dark red eye, and black quills instead of hair, started coming out of the forest and surrounding my house. They got really close and then all stopped in place and started to vibrate and convulse. Then I woke up.
I always hate these threads because I put a lot into what I write and no one replies, but whatever. I'll keep them short and sweet then. These are the ones that really stick out. One dream turned nightmare has me running first person through a nice neighborhood on a windy spring day. However, all of these houses were right next to each other, only divided by their fences with a bit of yard grass in between. I turn around and look to see a tornado forming above me. I make a quick decision to break into someone's home to seek shelter. Inside it was scary quiet, as if it was me in a void. I hear the sound of someone snoring off in the distance. I close in and notice an elderly Chinese man dressed in an ornate, red Chinese robe, the kind a kung fu grandmaster would wear. He looked to be napping sitting down on his couch. The living room was surrounded by authentic martial arts weaponry and ancient artifacts. I hear something crunch under my foot, and before I could realize what it was, I hear a deafening scream coming from the old man. Think those baby plants from Harry Potter. It all happened so fast. But in a matter of 1 second he gets up from his couch, draws a bladed chain-looking weapon, and everything turns to black. I assume I died before I even hit the ground.
Another was where I was a king of some ancient Sumerian-style city-state, surrounded by absurdly tall guard walls, about the size of a 15-story building. After I take a tour of my city and met with all of my subjects, I could tell I was a beloved leader that was trusted and respected, though I could also tell that some of the elderly and mature people seemed uneasy about something else going on. I finally demanded my royal guard, after their many efforts to divert my attention, that I wanted to see what was beyond those walls. They finally conceded, and led me to one of the doors opening to a winding staircase. I reach the top and am heart-struck by what I see. Surrounded on all sides, approximately 3 miles, 5 kilometers, of desolate no-man's land separated us, and an extremely hellish mountain range that encompasses our city full circle. The mountains were covered in dark black ash cloud with intermittent thunder illuminating the silhouette of jagged peaks and red-hot hell. They seemed to close in. I couldn't quite tell, but it seemed as it was creeping closer and closer. I finally realized then what the walls were for. I looked at my one guard accompanying me. He looked defeated, almost as if he wanted to cry. We said nothing, but understood. There was nothing that could be done. We were all going to perish.
And then there are the recurring nightmares where I run through one of my local trails along a creek. Except the creek is infested with Nile crocodiles. I'm from Texas. I keep running, but more and more seem to spawn in the waters, and they eventually spill over onto the trail itself. Everything goes to black and I wake up. I hate those ones.
When I was a kid, I used to dream of this fucking rabbit, like a 2-legged humanoid demon rabbit, and it would chase me. Its fur was all fucked up and nasty looking, and it would run after me and slash my back open with huge fucking 12-inch claws. I could never escape from it, no matter how fast I ran.
I had a series of weirdly vivid dreams involving shadow people. The first time I dreamed about them was outside the ruins of what looked to be some kind of old abandoned mansion. There were other humans there, possibly other dreamers, and they were making deals with the shadow people, some of which were perched upon stone pillars. I made a deal with a shadow person. It didn't speak but rather communicated psychically without the need for words. I don't remember what the deal was, but I know I went through with it. Not long after, some jackass human pissed one of the shadow people off and it started hurling this pure destructive energy our way. I don't think they were trying to hit me, but I didn't want to get caught in the crossfire, so I got out of there. Then I encountered them in some other vivid dreams. These ones were dicks. They basically had complete control of the dream itself. They could make the environment change and cause me to wake up over and over in different locations. Sometime after that I dreamed I was in some garden with random trash about the place. There I met a little shadow girl with pigtails and a dress. She had a much more friendly and playful energy than the shadow adults I'd met. She was much more expressive in her movement and communicated more in body language than psychic communication. Lying in the grass was an old TV displaying static. The shadow girl was excited to show me that she could appear on the screen at will. A couple of years passed with no shadow people dreams until last year, in which I dreamed I was in a field with a gravel path. I saw a little kitten, so I petted it and then dropped onto the grass carefree and laid there on my back petting the kitten. I could hear kids running down the gravel path from behind me. This is when I realized I could no longer move. I was stuck laying there in the grass. As the footsteps of the children got real close behind me, I woke up from my dream in a sleep paralysis and saw 2 shadow children run past my bed and disappear. It was a holy shit moment, but I was not scared. I knew they were not there to harm me. Shadow kids have a calming energy.
I keep dreaming of GTA Online Donald Trump.
The most realistic, as in dreams, which stick with me, involve a gray alien which was taller than usual with the same eyes, but a what I perceived as malevolent smile standing at the end of my bed. It's just something I cannot shake. The same for consistent dreams of large flying saucers hovering near the Severn Bridge, which whenever I see that area in real life, I get a weird sensation, which is almost euphoric.
Pickerel, since I drew it from what I can remember. But I've been seeing these things in my dreams since I was 7 and saw it opening my closet when I was asleep. Woke up to the sound of my closet opening and nothing being there. Ever since then I've just periodically kept seeing these things from then on. usually hidden in the BG of some of my dreams. The scariest dream I ever had was when I was 7. It was about blue aliens. It happened in 3 parts. Part 1. I see a news broadcast talking about how blue aliens are planning on abducting people tonight. Part 2. My mom and dad are sitting on the porch talking about the upcoming alien abduction. I eavesdrop on their conversation. Part 3. I wake up in the middle of the night. I'm paranoid about aliens, so I go to tell my dad that I can't sleep. I'm walking down the narrow hallway to my parents' bedroom. Their bedroom door swings open. And my grandma, who didn't live with us, is standing in the threshold holding a basket of laundry. I can basically only see her silhouette. I ask her what she's doing. She doesn't say anything. Her eyes light up neon blue. She starts to pursue me down the hall. My mom emerges from the bedroom also with glowing blue eyes. They chase me. I try to run, but they catch me easily. They shed their human disguises and reveal their true alien forms. They look like grays, but they're a deep blue core. They put something like a brown plastic shopping bag over my head and start dragging me. They drag me through my sister's bedroom where she's sleeping. They take me out of her window and we're beamed up to their ship. That's when I woke up. Other than that, the only monster I can recall ever dreaming about is Bigfoot. Had out-of-body experiences where I visited a large house with an old woman who lived alone. Each time I visited, she knew I was there and spoke to me, and warned me about an evil demon in her basement. She would say she really did not like going down into her basement, because the evil thing was there trying to frighten her. I visited the house without really meaning to, but I kept being brought there. I guess the old woman was nice enough, but she really did seem afraid of her own basement. I decided I was going to travel to the basement and face whatever was down there. When I approached, I could sense guttural noises like meat being chewed and growling, etc. At first, I wasn't sure what the thing was, but I could tell that it was malevolent and wanted me to leave. I began getting closer and focusing more intently on it, which angered it. It took the form of a large gnarled beast with pale skin and sharp teeth gnashing at me. Think a kind of pig-like humanoid with fangs and wrinkled skin. I was completely unafraid, and I felt absolute certainty that I was much stronger than this thing that was so desperately trying to frighten me. Finally the thing charged me with its mouth agape, and I extended a hand toward it and drew it into my palm, even though it wanted to bite me. The force of my palm was such that it could not move at all. I willed it into the ground beneath the earth and stomped above its head as the last of it sank down. There was a crack through which its eyes could still see me, and it looked up from its new home, and I could see it lost its monstrous form and was now just a man. I got the impression that this was the spirit of a wicked man who died, and was trying to stay behind by feeding off the fear of whoever it latched onto. I didn't allow it to pass on, since I couldn't be sure it would do so if I set it free. So now whenever I dream, I see its eyes filled with rage staring at me from below the earth. Never was able to find the house again. I have a dream that fucked with me a couple days ago. From what I remember, it started in the attic of my childhood home, and I was playing games, facing a window towards the street. I felt as if something was off immediately. I felt watched, as if something was toying with me. My mom came up, and that's when I walked all the way back down to the first floor. I spent a good portion of that dream looking out my window, seeing glimpses of shadows moving, while there was a dark, cloudy sky, frantically going from window to window, looking to see if any would approach. Eventually Dream Me decided to leave my house. For context, my father died mid-2022, and my dog died late November, early December. I walked down my driveway towards a grill, one of the ones with a chimney to let out smoke, and I remember I saw the lifeless head of my dog placed upon the chimney as I looked in horror. In the dream I had this idea that it was a hallucination caused by whatever was lurking outside, but it horrified me nonetheless. After that I ran inside. Sounds like some bitch shit, I know, but it was really fucking creepy. Had a series of dreams that occurred as a child. Stopped around the time I was in middle school. I had this vivid nightmares where I was standing alone in a dark void and suddenly I would see a small geometric shape, like a triangle. Then it would get larger and larger to the point where I could no longer see myself and it just got so inconceivably huge. I felt nothing but dread and would always wake up in a panic, heart racing and crying.